Hello, my stamping friends. If you don't know me, my name is Oksana from funstamparatus.com, and today is Fun Friday, Facebook Live. So I will be coming to you this time to just chat and stamp. So every Friday at 11 o'clock, we will have Fun Friday. So it will be my way to see you, to communicate with you, and hopefully inspire you to create. So how has your week been? How are you doing, ladies? I hope everybody's staying healthy and safe and everything going well for your family, and you're trying to concentrate on positive versus what's going on right now everywhere. So I know it's pretty hard when you listen to news and kind of thinking about what will happen next couple months. But let's just concentrate on positive. So stamping was always my positive outlet. And I was super busy preparing for my class, actually cutting things, packaging things, mailing things. So I'm super excited because tomorrow I'll have my live class for first time in like 3 months, maybe even 4 months. I don't think maybe I did have in the beginning of March class. I try to remember, but then everything became super crazy. So the class actually gave me an idea what we're gonna talk about. So this is a product-based class concentrated around like one stamp or bundle. And what I was thinking how different some of my stamping friends are who are actually gonna be using this as a class. So it's super easy when you come to my place or when we meet. And things are cut for you. I bring extra supplies, right? It's easy to create, but we all kind of in different journey with stamping and crafting. So I'm been with Stampin' Up for over 10 years. So of course my supply room is well stocked. So think about, imagine those chef cooking shows when they show you kitchen and it's like you have everything what you could imagine. So my room is pretty much stocked up, for all the year. So I have everything to be successful. But again, some of you just starting and have limited supplies. So how you could still be successful and create awesome recipe even if your pantry has few ingredients. So this is what we're gonna talk about, and I'm gonna show you how to, if you have one stamp set and maybe 1 or 2 inks, you could create beautiful cards and it still feel creative and it will be beautiful. So what we're gonna do, let me point you down and we will start to create. And I'll switch you up, don't get dizzy. I'm still new into that and always afraid I'm gonna screw it up. I think if you should see it. Now, pull you guys on my iPad. Last time I had problems to see the comments, so hopefully I will be able to see it here. What I was actually doing this week, I was preparing for the class, and the class was around this stamp set. It's called Forever Fern. So everything with like a greenery image and distinctive stamp, so you could stamp it once and it's beautiful. So I absolutely loved it. I love the paper that comes with that. It's really beautiful suite. So I was offering just 2 stamp set for the class or bundle with the die cuts, but some of you don't have die cuts or still waiting for a new one from Stampin' Up. That actual suite is on page 108, and the paper is just gorgeous. You probably saw some of my posts, some other cards that I was posting. So this is a stamp set that we're gonna do, and the paper of course is absolutely gorgeous. You could just glue it and do a sentiment and you will be already super successful. So let me show you quickly what cards, kind of little sneak peek what cards we're going to be creating. So this is the cards. Again, super easy when everything is cut, and we just will be die cutting and stamping. And as I was saying, for this particular class, I was promising you 50 shades of gray, or 50 shades of green, I'm sorry. Not quite 50, but I use most of greens that it's possible. I'm trying not to introduce kind of other colors, you know, just in case. So give me 1 second, I want to see comments as well here. All right, I think I see a few of you here. So what I was kind of thinking about some of my stampers, you know, how you could be successful to be beginner stamper, and you, let's say you have limited supplies. You have maybe 1 or 2 inks. Basically, I recommend to have 2, and this is what we're gonna be using. And again, you're just starting, right? We always say, okay, how to start, what to start using. So I created a couple cards for you to be successful, and then we could talk about, you know, advanced stamper and about avid stamper. If you have everything and you're not afraid to use it, your tools, then, you know, then I could give you a couple tricks how to actually die cut it in a mass and do mass production. So I was thinking about people who just starting. So imagine you pretty much have nothing, right? You don't maybe even have a cutting machine or anything like that. So I created 2 cards, and I use different sentiments, and in this particular bundle I use a lot of thank you cards. So this is what I created. So again, super simple cards. When everybody who attend the class will have this stamp set. And what is this? This is just note cards. It's a pack of note cards, and super inexpensive. It's $7 for 20. So you could create 20 cards pretty much at no time with 2 inks. You will need to have a sponge. So this is sponge from Stampin' Up. If you have different type of sponge, a sponge dauber, something to kind of add a little bit of color. You know, sometimes you forget, being with doing stamping for so long, we kind of wanted to try new tutorials, new techniques, something more complicated. But then we sometimes forget how simple and beautiful could be just, you know, stamp and sponge, right? So this is what I decided to do. So let me show you quickly how to do this card. Again, super easy. So we will start basically, again, as we're targeting new stampers. And again, imagine you need to have stack of thank you cards. You wanted to give it as a gift to your friend that maybe, you know, for different occasions that they wanted to have. It will be fun to create 20 cards, pretty much gonna cost you $7 or $8 with the envelopes, nice handmade cards. So what we're gonna do, and I show you the sponge. Remember, it's a one big one. You could cut probably, I'm thinking 7, 8 wedges. I try to use like a smaller wedge. Super easy to sponge. Little tricks that you will want to kind of do. You're gonna ink it, and I'm using older ink. It's not that much, it's not that juicy, so it's easier for me to do it. And you start off the paper in case it's just too harsh, and then you could start laying colors. And what also super cool with this technique is that you could add color as little or as much as you want. I suggest to go little and add more, because if you add too much, you will not be able to remove it. So you keep adding it. And you could always go and add after. So I think it still kind of adds little dimension to the card. And then I did pick 3 stamps like this big green leaf. Where's my big green leaf? I don't know, so we're gonna use something different. Oh, it's here. Oh, let me use different one. Choices. I like choices with stamp set. Which leaf I like better today? Blocks I brought. and then you stamp. Just little tip, when you stamp on that particular cardstock, it's a little bit heavier. I suggest you to kind of maybe press for a little bit longer and then release. So you see this one is my new paper-pizzazz. It's just super juicy. It's not quite old olive, but it looks much darker. So we got it. Just add a little something here. And let's take garden green. So I decided to stick with those two colors. In my class, even so we use 4 colors, I'm telling my ladies that if you have just 2, it still will be pretty. And we will do the same. We will just stamp that particular and here you have it. I think it's absolutely looks stunning. You could probably just sponge kind of lightly around and do smaller border and have a sentiment inside. I think it's even gonna look pretty like this. So let's just go with that big one. Love and laughter, forever and after. And here's the card. I also did in my other ones, there is splatters, and it's so interesting how much little thing could add to the card. So you could just, in a lighter green, and again, I'm just using paper-pizzazz and garden green, but any lighter, darker combination will work. You could probably even do it, I don't know, you could probably do it in kind of bluish colors. There is no, here you have it. This is, again, if you just have ink, stamp, and paper, so this is the card. So what do you think? You think it's simple enough to make? So let me close the inks and let me show you other card, right? And then this is kind of easy one because it's not require any additional kind of thinking how you sponge. So whatever you sponge, lighter or darker one, it still will be pretty easy. And it's, so other thing is what you can do, where's my other cards? I'll use another one. When you could basically sponge like a strip, right? You could just do straight strip, you could do diagonal. There is no, you know, you come up with the idea. You could do 2 strips. I actually saw somebody using, it's called Post-it tape. So it's kind of wider one. I ordered, didn't come yet. So I'm using just painter's tape, just your regular blue one. The only kind of tip is it's a little bit too sticky. So you may wanna, after you take it off, maybe kind of adhere it a couple times to some cloth or something like that, so it's not gonna tear your paper. First one, it was just when I put it and kind of press it, it's actually tear my paper. So grit paper is really nice here. Let's go one way. And so this is why grit paper is nice, because you could kind of make it straight and it's gonna adhere it to your paper. And I'll do like 3/4 inches. So again, exactly the same as we did before. Super easy sponging. Again, I'm using lighter ink, and I probably could have opened card or too late, you know, so it's not that bulky. But start kind of off and start going up. So almost like you wanted to create ombre effect. Make sure it's again, like we're saying, little goes long way. It's even therapeutic to go. And what I like also about this technique, you could do it multiple cards and none of them will be the same, because it depends how much ink you pick up, how much pressure. So I think I'm fine. Let's see if I'm gonna tear the card this way. It's brand new tape and I just go slow and steady. And you could reuse those. Just clip it to the bin. And here you have it. So again, the same way as we did before, just do couple stamping and we will be on our way. As you could see, I'm using the same color, but just darker ink pad. Didn't re-ink my lighter one. Remember the trick I was telling you, just press it. See, I picked a little bit too quick, so it didn't ink all the way. But see, still it's gonna work. You do this, and you come up with another one. And again, I'm just kind of doing what I think, you know, it may not be my favorite one right now, but then you add little sentiment, little hello, little splatters, and you're gonna have it. Let's see which. I think I don't have enough. I have my hello sentiment. The only trick is, I think I put it crooked on a block, on a label. So I need to make sure. I think it's pretty straight. Let's see. Well, ink too much. Well, I'm probably gonna sponge it and do something different. So this is, again, if you have just limited supplies, play with the stamp set or with any other stamp set. Distinctive one is super easy to play with because, again, you don't need to have like too many inks or do two-way stamping or anything like that, so you could actually create it. So let me show you how to, if you have a little bit more supplies, you still kind of want to maybe full-size card, but you don't want it to, you know, to make it overly complicated. Let's say you're mass producing, you need to have 10 cards and you don't want to spend hours to make one individual card. So remember, this is the cards I was showing you, what we kind of created. I actually like this one a lot. So it's exactly the same cards I created. As you could see, the same sponging, it's just white layer, and then you have garden green layer, and it's mounted to thick whisper white. So it's, you know, I added a couple gems, you could probably add a ribbon, so you could step it up. But again, even if you have, let's say, cardstock at home, you could still make it, and it's popped up with dimensionals. So it's kind of easy. So again, I'm not gonna create this one. It's exactly the same how we did before, but I'm just gonna show you what we're gonna do. Let's get all the pieces. So whisper white is, I always like, if card goes direction like from top to bottom, like this one, long one, I like to do 4 1/4 by 11. I like when it's open this way, so I think it stands better, right? So always I like when I fold this on top, not necessarily on the side. So that's how I like to do that. And then you will have your small piece, it's just regular whisper white, so it's 3 3/4 by 5. And then I like to make the green just like 1/8 bigger. So not a quarter bigger, but 1/8. So this one is 3 7/8 and 5 1/8. Little bit kind of tedious to cut if you knew, but I like the smaller border. And you're gonna do the same and stamp, but wait, we're not gonna waste this beautiful green, right? Because nobody's seeing. So if you have a die cut, you know, borrow it, especially if you're creating for yourself. So you could see here, I did borrow for another card. So I just die cut this big piece of green, and when I create my card, you will not see it. Nobody will know unless they rip it apart. But then you will have, if you need to add additional things, here you have it versus to double your card stock. So it should be pretty kind of, and I actually do a lot with some other shapes, let's say some circles or some kind of bigger dice. I do die cut, especially if I mass produce. So let's say I do 20 cards, then I create, you know, 20 of the circles that I could use for something else. Kind of saving a card stock. So let's talk about avid crafters. So you guys have everything. You could create, you know, you have different dice. You have, you know, whatever you wanted to do. So this is some cards for avid crafters, and I will show you. There is a couple that I created. Again, the same paper, the same kind of possibly ink, but you could see some of the stuff is already die cut, right? So the same little flower, or I don't know what it is, it's also die cut. So the idea, this one I was featuring before, this one I really liked, it was the gold. So the idea came, I participate in swaps a lot, so then when you create 20 identical cards, you send it to place and you basically trade, you receive your cards back. So this is 2 swaps that I was making, and as you could see, it was a lot of cutting, right? So 2 twigs and 2 of those ones. And even so, dice are really nice and precise and cut really nicely, but it's still, you really need to position it nicely. You need to make sure that it's not gonna shift, that everything gonna go how it's, you know, how it's designed, right? So what I came up with, and I actually use this technique for class when I'm not bringing my big shot, but I want people to still kind of using some of the images, but we're not going to be die cutting, right? So how to do it? So we're gonna, for mass producing, I actually, and with this set particularly, it's actually super easy. We're gonna use a stamparatus. So let me show you how to do it. So what I did, I just came and create the template. Whisper white. So piece is not too small, but not too big. And you just cut piece out, right? And also what I like with the Whisper white and dice that are not super intricate, like this one, I actually could put 2 pieces of paper and cut 2 of the leaves at the same time. So as you could see here, like I pre-cut a bunch of them. As I was saying, I could cut 2 of them at the same time, right? So now what we're gonna do next, we will take our stamparatus or Misty or anything that you have, right? It doesn't need to be, you know, Stampin' Up brand, whatever you have, use it. Of course, Stampin' Up brand is the best with different features. Let me show you how you could actually watch a TV and do simple stamping and, you know, not doing a lot of like precise work. So for this one, I suggest to take a computer paper. There is some grid paper coming with that, but I don't necessarily suggest to use grid paper because pretty much you're gonna use it once. So take your paper, grid paper, just to protect. So, and take your leaf and kind of put it in the middle. Pick up with your stamparatus or whatever tool you have, and let me get where I lost my ink. Here. Ink lightly, or sometimes when I already using it and my stamp is not quite clean. Again, doesn't matter how you stamp. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna just stamp it, right? You're creating a template. So now you take this piece and you could position it ideally, right? Because you see it, you could manipulate, because you know how when you die cut, sometimes your die is moving or you don't necessarily see, like I always have a problem with this piece because it's not necessarily cutting, nice edge. So here you put it around, you secure with your magnets, then you start to taking your little die cuts that you could die cut a lot, right? You could use your scraps and you could die cut and use them when you need it. Then you ink it. And you stamp it, and you have it. Ta-da! And you could keep going. I think mine is not positioning. White on white with the light. I will move it a little bit. But again, then it becomes so quick. If you have paper pumpkin, or maybe from before you have those little spots, so it's not a full ink, but it's smaller, so it's much easier to use that one on a to ink. But again, I don't really have a problem. Even if my plates get, you know, inked, I'll just clean it, and it's not. And you keep going. See? And keep going and keep going. After that, you could, what you can do, you could have a little cello bag and put those templates, because you could reuse them. They're not gonna get dirty. And you could put inside with your stamp set. And let's say now, okay, I'm done with that. I don't want this stamp set anymore. Now I wanted to use different flower, right? I just, exactly the same. I take this one. So this one is, I didn't clean the stamp set. So I take this big one. Hope I have a template. And this one was challenging to cut. The same, I create, I'll need to ink it. I create, and for the video, I'm gonna use the same color. I wouldn't ink it enough. So this is probably matters how you're gonna put. Oh, I think I got it. It's just right there. So that's why it's, you'll need to have a templates kind of slightly, not that big, because in some point you will need to know how to stamp, how to rotate. And you do the same. You just put, I put 2 magnets. And this is what I was saying. See, I cut 2 of them. You could see how they stuck. And you put it inside. And you keep stamping. I like to do this technique on greetings, even if it's circle, right? You don't want it to cut your circle and then stamp, and it's not gonna be perfect. Look how perfect it is. Isn't that interesting? So I hope you learned something. How to position and how to make it done. With the greeting, I have a template somewhere, but I do like this golfer, so we use it on a card, or some big leaves. I actually, before I did that one, but I almost kind of just stamp, put a template and I just stamp. But then if you stamp it on a copy paper before, it's so easy to put a template. So I hope you learned something today. I hope you like what you saw. Please share your videos. I'll show these cards again in case you wanted to recreate those. Again, I use this borrow technique. I did like 20 some of those. So it's just that one piece and bunch of different greens. Victoria asking, for those who are doing kit, we need to stamp white die cut. So I could include the white die cuts. It's actually, it's not that many. You could still cut around it. And please watch the video that comes with the instructions for the class. You will need to cut. I could add a template for you. I'm not sure I have everything. But like those one, again, unless you have a negatives, you will need to, position it. But again, like 1 or 2, you could basically cut around it. I did pre-cut everything for the class when it's on a cardstock, but you should have it. So I hope you like it. If you're watching a video and you were not part of the class, please contact me and see if you could still get you that class to go. And I hope to see you next time. Leave a comment, share the video, and until next time, have a great weekend. Thank you.